Howdy,
Ah,
y'all.
Duty! What's up, guys? What's up, gals? What's up, everybody?
Trevor.
Hello, MR. Did you? Timmy!
Trevor.
Timmy!
What's happening?
And it's amazing that we can put on a show because we do dumb shit like that all the time. So, hey, welcome everybody. Welcome or welcome back to the Battle Bros podcast with Mac and Alamo. I'm Mac. This specimen of a freaking stud over here. Yeah, that's Alamo. Hey.
What's happening?
What's up, everybody? So, welcome to our last show for the calendar year. Hold on, don't freak out. Wait a minute.
2022.
As you were.
Mhm.
For the last show we have for this calendar year. We ain't
Yes.
fucking going nowhere. So,
Correct.
just saying. So, yeah. This is our last show for 2022. We're going to go on a brief holiday sabbatical, 2, possibly 3 weeks. But after that, we'll be back kicking tires and lighting fires and, inspiring all you beautiful people out there.
Indeed.
So if you're new to the show, great. Welcome. Hope you like it. Click out the like and subscribe button, whether you follow us on the Facebook, on the all the social media platforms and all that kind of shit.
Like, share, subscribe, and follow on any platform you see us.
And hit
And
that
if
little
you're on
notification
Rumble,
button.
hit the Rumble button.
Oh, and then apparently the big news now that you posted the other day, you didn't even tell me about, is that we're on iHeartRadio. It's like,
Yes, we are.
that's fucking dope.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, welcome everybody. I've said that 4 times already, but I just feel like saying welcome again. So,
You know, it reminds me of the little Walmart greeter lady that we used to freaking, when we lived in town and country, me and Tisha, we'd always go into the Walmart and there'd be this Hispanic lady just in the front, just, welcome to Walmart. Bienvenidos a Walmart. Welcome, welcome. She was very enthusiastic. It made Tisha smile every time we went in
is
there.
there such a thing as an over enthusiastic Walmart greeter?
No, because they're usually just, hi, welcome to Walmart.
What are you doing? I'm checking the greeter for a fucking pulse.
It's either that or they're oh, hello.
Nailed it, my dude. Nailed
Yep.
it. You got all your Christmas shopping done there, buddy?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
Still got
It's
a
all
few
good.
things to go.
It's all good. Let's not stress over that. Moving right along. So let's get into tonight's topic, shall we? So if you caught our show again, if you're new to the show, thanks for stopping by. If you're coming back, welcome back to the Thunderdome. If you caught our show last week, we had a great conversation on the topic of integrity and why that's important. From not only from the person having a superior, but also to the superior having a subordinate. So feel free to check that out. You can go on one of various platforms. You can go on Rumble. You can go on Stitcher. You can go on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, pretty much any of those.
All the platforms.
All the platforms. We also have a YouTube channel. You can check it out there.
Dude.
Check the Battle Bros podcast on YouTube as well.
Share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Notification bell for reminders. And share.
Don't be shy. Share the love, people. We're like a STD podcast STD, except in a good way. We want you to share, tell people, and decree for that. We're awesome. Share, tell, decree. There you go.
That's right.
I just made that up. So yeah. So we talked about integrity last week. So this week we wanted to talk about something that gets discussed, I think, to the point of ad nauseum sometimes, but it's also something important that people kind of take for granted sometimes.
I would say and that's the thing is I would agree with you wholeheartedly on that, but at the same time, I would say probably not as it should be discussed.
It's discussed like you're going through the motions, like
PowerPoint.
been there, done that, check that briefing box for the year when you get those annual briefings on SAIDA and sexual harassment, rape prevention, the Sharps briefing, and all this other stuff you have to sit through. Thank you, Uncle Sam. But unfortunately, we live in a world where you kind of have to need that sometimes. So yeah. Mm-hmm. But as Alamo said, it's not really discussed in a way that is, it's the vigor is not there, the enthusiasm not there. So we're gonna kind of inject some new life into this conversation, and tonight we're gonna talk about teamwork. So bear with us because this is going to be, I think, a decent one. I hope so. I mean, hell, we did all the research for it earlier this week. So let's talk about teamwork, shall we? So there's a couple. Now, we're going to do something a little bit different this time. So normally we give the definition of the term that we're talking about, so teamwork. But I also have a couple of other definitions that I looked up as well and that I want to cover as well because they're so closely intertwined and interwoven with teamwork, obviously, that it would not do this discussion justice to not bring these up.
Precisely.
So, first and foremost, teamwork. Two different definitions. We have the combined and or collaborative action of a group of people. I'm sorry. I'm ridiculous. I thought it was two. It was just one. I put some weird punctuation in there. My bad.
Mushmouth Mac.
Yeah, he's got a point, people. I'm just gonna have to roll with that one and take that one square on the chin. The combined and or collaborative action of a group of people, especially when effective and efficient. Okay, we're gonna get into that. So, hold what you got. Stand fast. So, what is a team? You can't have teamwork without a team. So, what is a team? A group of people with different skills and different tasks who work together on a common project, service, or goal with a meshing of functions and mutual support. The first thing that pops in my mind being, the knuckle dragger here, a fire team.
Damn right.
What do you have in a fire team? You have a team leader, you have an automatic rifleman, you have a grenadier, and then you have a rifleman. And these are all people that have very specific jobs. Very different and varied jobs, but also who can work on their own or as members of a team. The automatic rifleman, I think, has the hardest job because he is his own one-man fire team. Whereas being a fire team leader in a weapons squad, I was a team leader. I had a gunner. I had an assistant gunner, and then you're supposed to also have an ammo bearer. Which pretty sure we did. Yeah, I think we did. Supposed to have an anti-armor capability. That's the last one.
We kind of did away with that when ours, just because, I mean, hell, our vehicles kind of were our ammo bearers. So,
well, right, you can get away with that.
Yeah, there was a way to refit, without having to worry about an AB.
By the way, have you seen those new infantry support vehicles? It's basically, I'll have to show you that sometime. It's basically like the chassis of like a Chevy Colorado, but it will hold all 9 members of a Army infantry rifle squad.
Nice.
So it has, you got 2 in the front, then you have a row behind it of 3, so there's 5. Then you have like 2 seats that are sitting kind of out this way in the back, and they have 2 seats that are facing to the rear as well. So it holds all 9. It's pretty dope, but like you can just pretty much just take this thing and lift it in by a Chinook or even drive it out of a Chinook or a C-130 or something. It's pretty dope. But of course, all the boys over at Bragg are getting it first.
Ah, well, that makes sense. Or we can't say Bragg anymore.
Oh, that's right. It's Fort Liberty. Liberty. Wrong thing, I know, but whatever. It fit.
Yeah.
So the last thing we want to talk about, the last definition I wanted to look up is the definition for allegiance, which is loyalty or commitment of a subordinate to a superior or of an individual to a group or cause. I mean, cause being, defending our great nation. That applies hopefully to, I was hopefully say 99% of the military service members out there.
Absolutely.
So we looked up some examples of teamwork, and we were able to find some pretty interesting stuff. Let me just go off to my little side tablet over here. So when we talk about teamwork, you think of kind of like some pretty prestigious organizations inside the military, like the airborne community. Obviously, airborne infantry is a step above regular straight leg infantry and stuff, and they like to make us known, fucking leg, jump.
I've been called a leg fairly, my fair few.
Yeah, but at least you have that title of dragoons, so like that's kind of awesome, Dragoons are pretty badass. So the link, excuse me, hold that thought.
Mm-hmm. Behold, as the Mac whets his whistle.
That would sound so much better if you did it like Richard Attenborough. Watch here as the wild Mac wets his whistle using his steel mug before continuing his podcast. That like it was a freaking nature or Animal Planet kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but the portion that kind of fit what we were talking about tonight with teamwork. For the Airborne Creed, there is a part of it that says, quote, "I will never fail a fellow paratrooper. I cherish the sacred trust and the lives of men with whom I serve. Leaders have my fullest loyalty, and those I lead will never, never find me lacking. I have pride in being airborne. I will never let it down." So kind of keeping with that theme, and you can go online and look to this stuff. Like this is some motivating, like some motivate shit type stuff. You could look this up, and it's just like absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So another example of this is the Ranger Creed. In the fifth stanza that starts with, "Energetically will I meet the enemies of my country. I shall defeat them on the field of battle, for I am a better trained and will fight with all my might." Here's a part that applies what we're talking about, teamwork. "Surrender is not a Ranger word. I will never leave a fallen comrade to fall into the hands of the enemy, and under no circumstances will I ever embarrass my country." Not just teamwork for your guys, but also, for the allegiance to the country, as we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The next one we looked up is the Navy SEAL ethos. This is a particularly long one, and if you have a chance to read it, yeah, it's pretty dope. So about a third paragraph in, it says, "I humbly serve as a guardian to my fellow Americans, always ready to defend those who are unable to defend themselves. I do not advertise the nature of my work, nor seek recognition for my actions. I voluntarily accept the inherent hazards of my profession, placing the welfare and security of others before my own." And then lastly, this is kind of a newer one, is the Marine Raider Creed, which that's pretty badass. So kind of like how the 6 stanzas for Rangers start RANGER. There's 6 main parts of this that spell out the word. They start with the letters
MARSOC.
Yeah. So in the 4th stanza, "Spiritus Invictus, an unconquerable spirit, will be my standard. I will never quit, I will never surrender, and I will never fail. I will adapt to the situation. I will gain and maintain the initiative. I will always go a little farther and carry more than my share." So yeah, I mean, those are all some pretty motivating shit. But I mean, think about teamwork. Like, even if we talk about our experiences in military and stuff, the basic element that we have is your battle buddy team. You have your battle buddy. No matter where you go, you have to go with somebody. Whether it is just going to the latrine, you got somebody to watch your stuff while you go utilize a wood line or whatnot, or Sometimes you got to lean against, like do the whole Gump and Bubba thing. I'm gonna lean against you. You're gonna lean against me. This way we gotta sit without heads in the mud. Kind of stuff. So, I mean, and if you don't really have a lot of experience with that, it's definitely something you're going to experience full well after joining the military.
Yeah.
Because it's just part of it. I mean, think about all the basic stuff you have to do. I mean, even if you have like some high speed motherfuckers, you have like SF guys.
Yeah.
They can go and they can break down a 12-man ODA into 2 teams of 6.
Mm-hmm.
From there, they can go off and do their own thing from there. You are equally comfortable not only being part of a team, but also an individual to go out there and wreak havoc and cause some shit kind of thing.
Damn right.
So,
and that's the one like major thing about the military that I find so fascinating, and I miss it so damn much, is that in the military, the team building, at least in the United States military, from what I've noticed, it doesn't matter what kind of branch you're in. The team building that you experience is unparalleled in any other kind of workforce, in any other workforce in the nation. You're not going to find a better team building instrument than probably the military. When it comes to learning how to teach people how to work together from different backgrounds, from different freaking ethnicities, from different, just you name it. You learn to work together, because life or death, you have to learn how to work together, or you A, fail your mission, or B, fucking die.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it this way, but nobody wants to die out on the battlefield. So you're going to learn to work together, like the people you like the people that you work with or not, or otherwise.
And it's funny you bring up, going to basic training and stuff. It's so funny. You talk about like the different walks of life. You have all the people that are from like California. They all kind of make that little click. You have all the people that grew up in New York. Like they all kind of click together and stuff.
Yes.
Even though they kind of rib each other. Where are you from? BK. Where are you from? The Bronx. Like they're going to bust balls and shit. But they're still from New York. So it's like, talking shit about the Yankees, bro. Like it just happens, Don't let no Boston guy come up in there, because they're just automatically just gonna fucking hate each other.
Massholes.
Something like that.
Yep. I had a few massholes in my platoon when I was at basic.
Yep. So there's another thing that we saw here. It says team building from an article that we looked up. Team building is a vital part of the Army because soldiers need to feel as though they are part of a team if they're going to be willing to fight and die for a teammate in their country. Right. Soldiers need to be taught their position and responsibility within that team. And furthermore, when you talk about especially units that like really good units, you get to know each other on a first name basis. You call each other by first name. Like you just mesh and intertwine yourselves within each other's lives and stuff. It's, it's almost like you become like an extended member of the family, of their family, and then them of your family as well.
Correct.
Plus you also can, you kind of know everybody's strengths and weaknesses, like, especially like in an infantry squad, man, excuse me. Everybody's like what they're strong on, what they're not good on. You just, everything. You like pretty much assimilate into everybody else's lives in a partial, if not greater scheme of things. Would you agree?
Absolutely, man. Learning the strengths and weaknesses of your team is kind of, I mean, in all honesty, it's paramount. Like who's the best gunner? Who's gonna be the best fucking door breacher? Who's gonna be able to freaking help communicate with the locals best? All those things matter, and all those things matter within the context of the team that you're working with.
Who's got the net? Who's got the net? Yeah, who's got like the natural aptitude when it comes to You may not have a medic with you, but who's got the natural kind of like knows what the hell they're doing with a freaking, IV bag and can take care of a collapsed lung and all that kind of shit if they need to without a medic being around. It's like
CLS qualified.
Yeah, man, me too. I was many moons ago.
Yeah.
I still
remember how to put in the IV. Bevel up, angle in, boop, 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 hold, twist. I could totally put an IV into this day.
And what was great too about with our experiences, we had a bunch of guys that were CLS, but we had guys that were firefighters in their regular job. So it's like we got kind of went above beyond the standardized training that we had for CLS and shit.
Nice.
But also the fact too, like, it was kind of weird. Like all the guys in my squad, my weapon squad before we deployed were all O positive too. It's like, okay, that's kind of interesting. So,
I was gonna say that's a rarity. You don't find a lot of O poses
not really
together like that.
And that's just the way it worked out. It's like, oh, okay. So
could donate to everybody.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, I think teamwork's probably one of those things that gets harped on the most.
Yeah.
In the military, obviously, I mean, like you have, especially like going through basic, you have the like the obstacle course where you have to just go and it's a team event, it's a squad event. You have to figure out how to get all this crap across a narrowly impossible, obstacle, and you just gotta like figure the shit out. Like, well, what can we use? Oh, figure it out. Like ripping our belts off our trousers and linking the belts together to make little slings and all this kind of crazy stuff to put them across the zip line or some crazy shit. But more importantly, I think teamwork not only is one of the things that gets harped on the most, but it's also one of the things that is very easily and naturally just transferred back into the civilian world. I was very fortunate, when I was working in retail, the department that I ran, we had like almost everybody there. All the guys were all military. So it made things fun. It made things, interesting because we had all these different personalities that we could play with. And I think one guy was a Marine engineer. Another guy was Marine infantry, is also Marine security forces. Like he actually did security. He was a personal security detail for the CMC, the Commandant of the Marine Corps, for like his personal quarters up there in Washington, D.C. and stuff. My one buddy, Brandon, was he started off as an Army diver. He then went to PSYOPs or civil affairs, I believe, civil affairs. And then he became a Black Hawk pilot. Now he's a warrant officer. All kinds of stuff. My buddy Pat worked in medical, and now I believe he is a geospatial intelligence analyst. Like all kind of shit. One guy actually, my good pal Kyle, was in 1st Ranger Battalion. So like we had a lot of interesting different things we could do, and kind of all saw things eye to eye. There was it was a little bit of bravado and machismo from time to time, which was fun. But it was nice because I've had people in the past. I'm like, oh, you just want to work with military guys. I'm like, well, yeah. There's that level of life experiences there. I mean, you may not have done the same thing. You can have and I've said it before. You could have an Air Force guy who was on Diego Garcia in the middle of the freaking ocean. You could have a Navy guy from.
I think a good way of saying it is there's a level of understanding that in order to have a proper work environment, you need a cohesive team that is dedicated to achieving that one goal that your business, company, whatever is trying to achieve. Whether it be delivering products, whether it be assisting people in the medical field, or whatever that is. As military members, we all understand the idea of being dedicated to one goal, and that one goal for all of us is really the protection of our country. When at the end of the freaking day, and defending our homeland, defending the people we care about the most. That includes the people that are to our left and our right. And I think that's why when we have multiple people that are military that served in the military working together, I think that's why you'll notice many of the times, more often than not, they're going to work far better than, say, your average civilian team. I'm not trying to knock anybody that's strictly civilian. I'm just, the values that we carry with us from the military translate over well, but they are not fully understood by those who have not served.
Because a lot of times those come with slightly askew personality traits,
Oh
like morbid, dark sense of humor, binge drinking.
yeah.
I saw this great video of this guy showing up. Like when you can tell when a military guy or a veteran shows up to college. So he's got a small bottle of wild turkey, and he puts a straw in it and puts it upside down, and it just sits here and just pounds the whole bottle without coming up for air. And the straw was just to give the air. It was like an air valve.
Yeah,
So that way it wouldn't sit there and go bloop, 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 and this person's just looking over, just like this chick's like, "Did you see what that guy just did? Holy shit!" But
That's awesome.
yeah, the civilian folks. I mean, they're just as important to a team, whether
absolutely.
they're because they can have the same traits. They can have just
Of
and
course.
it's not even better or worse. It's just different, and that's what makes it all work. I mean.
And that's the thing is you can have civilian teams that work great together, and they can probably have those same values.
Yeah.
The problem is that I've noticed, working in the military and then working on the civilian side, a lot of those traits are not really, I'm not going to say enforced, but they're definitely not
pounded into your damn skull without giving up without reprieve.
I would say, what's the word? Shit. Damn, I just had the word on the tip of my tongue. I lost it.
Give that too.
Encouraged. They're definitely not encouraged as much.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Totally.
Which I think is something that, when it comes to the professional side, it does definitely need to be encouraged a little bit more.
So speaking of that, we found some decent articles talking about teamwork in more of a workplace environment, and we're going to kind of read off of these. This first article was published back in 2019. It is from a website called Atlassian, ATLASSIAN.com. It was, like I said, published in 2019, and it's called 9 Lessons on Teamwork and Leadership from the Military. So some of the 9 lessons they have. Number 1, have tough conversations. This is from a guy, Jake McDonald, who was a former Marine and a lead instructor with a team building and leadership development company. My units were the first conventional units to cross the line to Iraq in 2002. It was chaos. Someone had set the oil fields on fire. We pushed for about 48 hours without any sleep in 120-degree heat with no food, wearing full chemical suits and gas masks. We finally got an order that we were going to stop. Then a few minutes later, my boss told me to take my team back out on patrol. I was incensed because I was thinking, doesn't this guy know what it means to take care of his people? But I quickly realized taking care of us meant bringing us all back home to our loved ones. And that meant my platoon had to provide security so other guys could get some sleep. So, yeah, that's kind of important. Share the load. Jason Van Camp, who is a Green Beret, he is the CEO of Mission 60, a Utah-based management consulting organization. One of the first jobs they do in Green Beret training is that they put you in teams, give you a huge log, and tell you to hold it over your head for hours. Everybody's miserable and focused on themselves. In that horrible moment, I lifted my head up. The guys around me were all suffering just as bad as, if not worse, than I was. Then my little friend Pat lifted his head up as well, looked at some other guy and shouted, "Let's go, Jay, you got this." And I mustered some of that energy to shout some words of encouragement back at them. I noticed that more guys were lifting their heads up and looking around. We all began to focus on each other rather than ourselves. We began to forget about our pain. Time moved faster. The log felt lighter. The reality is that nothing changed about our situation except our attitude. Communicate the mission. Good commanders in the military share elements of the mission with the troops. We need to take that bridge. We need to take that hill, or we need to be secret, and we need to be radio silent. Here's why. Because if your team is in the field and they have to rely on sending a message back to headquarters to make a decision, they're probably going to get killed before they can get an answer. If they understand what higher order mission is, they can make the best decisions on their own. Totally. Recognize team members who deliver on values. As a company, you need core values and standards that reinforce those values. The Marine Corps has 3 core values: honor, courage, and commitment, that define how every Marine behaves. As leaders, we tend to recognize performance, which is important. But we also need to recognize when team members deliver on those core values with their behavior. That's how we communicate what's important to us. One way the Marine Corps recognizes Marines is simply calling out Marines to the front of formations and telling everyone about how those Marines were being great Marines. In business, say one of your core values is selflessness. Yeah, I think we just talked about that. A core value at my company. Openly call out people who meet that standard with their behavior. Send a team email or at a weekly meeting say, hey, I'd like to recognize Sarah for how selfless she was. Every day last week before she finished work, she checked in with everyone else to see if there was anything she could do to help. Now, this one I was like all about. Value diverse opinions.
Yes.
In a SEAL platoon, you might have an officer that's been in 20 years, an enlisted individual right out of high school who's been in for 4 years. Their opinions are both valued equally because they bring different perspectives. I see businesses fail to recognize this. There's been times that C-suite executives hire us to do a strategic planning. One of our first exercises was asking the administrative assistant at the front door, what do you think about this problem? What would be your solution? And we used exactly what she said verbatim and proposed it to the C-suite executives. And they thought it was a brilliant idea. And I said, well, that was from your admin assistant. They were just in awe. Listen to your people. Consider culture when recruiting. SEAL's recruiting process is so demanding and elite that we know what the quality of the individual we have within our organization. Every individual that joins for the same reason. The same thing is very relative when it comes to private sector organizations. Yet businesses rarely recruit the individual that has a why or a purpose that's aligned with the organization. That is a misstep. It is very hard to change someone with a negative attitude or that doesn't have proper alignment within the organization rather than just recruiting that person from the get-go. When you're hiring, ask questions like, why do you want to work here? What does this organization mean to you? What is it aligned? Why is it aligned with who you are as both a professional and a person? Coming up for air, sorry. Over communicate. When I was a second Louis, my boss made us put up a sign over our desk that had 3 questions on it. It said, what do I know? Who else needs to know? And have I told them? I had to be able to answer those 3 questions every single day. And I messed up that a lot of times as a young officer because I made a lot of assumptions that people knew things, so I didn't tell them. But at the end of the day, if something didn't happen because they did know, it wasn't their fault. It was mine. Oh, yeah. Embrace your team's knowledge. This is another good one. When I was 25 years old, I was on a submarine and I had enlisted men that were 40 years old working with me that were specialists. Some had been working in electronics for 20 years. Some of them had masters and PhDs. I had an enormous amount of respect for them. I learned how to ask questions that weren't invasive, but that helped me determine whether the team knew what they were doing and how to pass a solution and whether they were guessing. Like, what's the path to resolution? Is this going to be fixed in time for us to go to sea? Asking this way instead of micromanaging them made them feel like I trusted them, that I value them. And let me just kind of take a quick sidebar on that. Micromanagement, I get that works for some people. That has been the bane of my professional, like, I've had some leaders where they just want to finger bang the fuck out of you. And it's just like, go away. And I've had other people that I've worked for, both military and civilian, that, you earn their respect. And from there, they would go and they're like, all right, I trust you. It's good for the team. Handle it. Make it happen. And
Yeah.
not only as a subordinate, like that's such an important thing to just kind of have that ability to just operate freely with the caveat that you're not going to do anything stupid because you've earned that respect.
Yeah.
Accidents happen, to be fair. Things happen. Things, go sideways from time to time. But those can't, things like that are unavoidable. They happen. And then once you become, when I became somebody that was a supervisor and saw that in other people, like it was just such a cool full spectrum experience to be able to go, okay, I trust you, make this happen. And then watching them go through all that, it's just like, that's so dope, man. That's so freaking cool. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's all about balance, man.
Oh yeah.
It's
And
all
then
about balance.
the last one of the lessons is make contingency plans. A lot of civilians think that the SEAL teams are just a sexy concept where all these guys are just great at everything and executing these missions. What they often fail to remind themselves is that everything that could or possibly go wrong was planned with a contingency plan 24 hours before the mission ever took place. This removes the pressure of having to think through a problem while you're on target because you've already planned for it. Corporate teams need to have similar backup plans. Corporate teams need to have similar backup plans. Excuse me. What will you do if a team member is absent for a significant amount of time? As a team, what's your plan B, C, and D if your subcontractor drops the ball and throws you off your deadline? Oh, there was
all great questions.
There was I forget what the hell the there's a 4-part planning cycle. It's like you have the primary, secondary, emergency, and then contingency, I think, or something like that. I forget exactly what it is, but there's some kind of like PACE, primary, alternate, contingency, emergency. That's it. PACE plan. So your primary action is this, alternate plan, contingency plan, and then your emergency plan is if like all hell broke loose. So
basic dude stuff.
Basic dude stuff. Yeah, absolutely. And he does some good stuff. Shout out to Pat Mack, man. You're awesome, dude.
That's right, man.
Good dude. I'd love to meet that guy and just sit there and talk to him. Talk to him over a beer. So
yeah.
So, all right. And then did you want to hit on that last article that you looked up, the how to improve teamwork collaboration? So I'll let you take over for a little bit and kind of roll with that.
I actually went into an article that I found through Gallup, and it basically was titled "How to Improve Teamwork Collaboration in the Workplace." What I've noticed is that inside the article you just read, which was the 9, was it the 9 less or no crap? I already closed it. 9 lessons, I think, right?
Yeah, 9 lessons, teamwork and leadership lessons from the military you can take into the corporate world, pretty much.
There were a few things in there that were essentially already
listed in your article.
Already listed in the article, yeah. So basically, no, like I'm gonna kind of skip the introduction and go right into the what you call it.
Yeah.
It goes from introduction to which is and then into the next thing, which is why is teamwork important in the workplace? And it says if retaining your best people, driving revenue, and engaging your employees are important to your business model, teamwork should be important to you as well. 2 main ideas must be understood to appreciate the importance of teams in the workplace. Number 1, individuals who know their strengths work together to form better partnerships, and more thoughtful partnerships create stronger teams. Strong teams start with the individual. Hey, what did we just talk about in the last article? This number 2, the strengths and dynamics of your team directly affect business outcomes. All very accurate. I can honestly go into real world examples how and why that's actually a reality in work. for example, in the current business that I'm working at, you have individuals that do want to work hard. You have individuals that, do a little bit more than their fair share. And then you have a couple of individuals that are not doing their fair share because they feel like they're too good to actually do more than their fair share. They feel like it's below their pay grade to do anything more.
That cursed E word, entitlement.
So instead of actually trying to be a team player and attempting to actually try and assist the team in any way they can, they feel as if it is not their job to do more than what they're already doing. They're doing one thing of peace, and they're really good at that thing. But if you ask them to do more than that, it's a problem because they're not paid enough. That is something that is a bit irritating. Because when it comes down to that, you're yes, maybe what you do as a side thing, that's part of your strengths, right? Maybe that's what it is. But at the same time, playing on your strengths isn't really helping the team if you're not actually doing more to try and help the team in the first place.
And I just remembered something, Alamo, if I can interject real quick, bud. I remember working for a former employer where it was kind of interesting, whenever you started working there, whatever you did your first 2 weeks is kind of what was expected of you all the time. So if you came in there gung-ho as shit, busting your ass, being dependable, being a freaking hardcore solid worker, great. It's awesome. You can and you might be there for 4 or 5 years. You get a guy that comes in fresh off the street, he's brand new, and he's just kind of one of them counter leaners where it's just like, hey, how's it going today? You want to buy again?
Yeah.
Just sitting there, camping out right there in front of the boss's office, trying to be his muse and shit.
Yeah.
That can happen too. And
absolutely,
it's frustrating, especially when, and I'm not saying it was me, but especially when you're one of the hardcore people.
I think you muted yourself. And now I got you. Oh, now you're even more low. Is your mic disconnected? Live show, folks.
Yeah, live show. Can you hear
me now? As if you're in a very distant room. Yes.
How about now? You good?
Royer.
Somehow I clicked over to the microphone on my headset. That's why. Everything's good now?
Lovely. Oh, yeah, it's good.
Live show, folks. Fuck it, we'll do it live. So, but yeah, I mean, that's like super frustrating. You get there and you get people that are brand new, and it's like, well, why do they get to sit there? Because that's what they did, and they've established that pattern of behavior. And now that I work in, behavioral therapy and stuff, you just look at it and you're like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They did that when expected. It's unchecked. Like, they don't give a shit. So,
yeah.
But continue on, my man.
Next is improving teamwork in the workplace. Initial steps to improve teamwork. Setting goals setting goals is an integral part of improving teamwork. How can people do things they do best when A, they don't know what they're supposed to be doing, and B, they aren't given time to consider what brings them energy? For that last part of A, I would say instead of being what they're supposed to do, I would say why what they're doing is so important. That should be what's switched there. Because in all honesty, it really just comes down to, like, specifically when it comes to like those rebel, people that you have on the freaking team or whatever. It even says here, it says, begin by describing what each employee is supposed to do, supposed to accomplish, not how they're supposed to accomplish it. Explain expectations in terms of outcomes and the employees needs to achieve to reach them, or excuse me, to reach team goals. How each employee goes about meeting these expectations will vary, but if you've hired adults and you trust the adults you've hired, you need to give them the freedom to work the way they know best. Um, my thing is, I'm not necessarily sure that telling people what they're supposed to do typically really works. Um, especially when it comes to, especially like I said, when it comes to, you know, um, especially when it comes to, I'm very obviously working with grown adults, and especially when it comes to grown adults who think they.
You'd think so. You'd think you're working with grown adults because they are an adult form.
Yeah, they are adult in body only.
Some of them, some bitches don't know how to act right. You know what I mean?
Correct. I would venture to say go one better and explain to them why what they're doing is so important, and they will figure out a way to achieve it. And the reason I say that is because if you think about, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that, most people, especially grown adults, will rebel at the idea of having another grown adult, whether, and this is on the civilian side most wholeheartedly. Most grown adults will rebel at the idea of any other grown man, woman telling them what they are supposed to do. That's why I say tell them why what they're doing is so important and they will follow. Not because they're being told that they're supposed to do something, but they're being told, "Oh, well, if we get this done, I'm going to make a better paycheck for my family." Or, "Hey, if I get this done, I might actually get a freaking bonus." Or, "Hey, if I get this done, not only will productivity go up, but that'll make an increase for the budget for this, and I'll get a pay raise that's even more substantial the next following year." You know what I mean? And and that's the thing, is like I think a little bit of a change in wording is kind of necessary in that area.
And and you bring up a good point with that too, there, Alamo. It's like people,
Yeah.
it's about how you word things. You can say, you can have a message very clean cut and dry. The tree is brown and tall. And you can deliver that an infinite number of ways. And you could even have it where, like, huh? Big tree, brown.
Mm-hmm.
The fuck? Huh?
Exactly. And that's when you're telling someone what
say again over, you came in broken and stupid.
Exactly. When you're telling someone what they're supposed to do, that's kind of what it's coming across as. And they're just like,
right.
Uh-huh. But if you change that up and it's like, look, we've got to bring up productivity, this, that, and the other. The only way we're going to be able to do that is if we do this, this, this. But the reason that's important is because doing this leads to better this. Doing this leads to more efficiency. Doing this leads to not having to worry about the time being constrained or, running late on certain things.
And the other thing I'll say too is what's also intrinsically linked to that is the leadership style, the teamwork style. Because we've all seen it, right? If you were in the military, you get somebody that just made E4, E5, became an NCO, and you have some that were just shit hot, knew their stuff, but knew how to take care of troops. And you have that other group category of fucking dinguses, dingai, as they say for plural, dingai.
Correct.
Where they just do that, the all the stereotypical shit that you would expect a new leader to do. It's like, hey man, clean my weapon, turn it in for me. Like, okay, yeah, you're that guy now. Congratulations, Sergeant Fuckface. I'll do push-ups, but I'm gonna call you what I call you, Sergeant Shithead.
Sergeant Shithead.
Nice.
Nice. That was awesome.
What else did you want to hit off on that?
Conversations that improve teamwork. Without effective ongoing conversations between managers and employees, the success of any goals and performance metrics is left to chance. In most companies, objectives change as business needs shift throughout the year, and change often
Oops.
creates anxiety and
We
confusion.
speak cuss words more than anything else.
Yes, right. Yes, we sure do. But with ongoing coaching, employees are more likely to have clear expectations that align with overall business so they can better handle change with confidence and clarity. Now it kind of breaks it down a little bit. It kind of breaks down the 5 ways the 5 types of conversation. One of them is role and relationship. That's essentially, hey, fucking know your people, know what their likes are, know what their dislikes are, know, the things that make them angry, all that good stuff. Then obviously there's quick connects. They're usually informal, like little kind of like quick little, pluggy dippies, kind of just like, hey, what's going on? Oh yeah, well, cool, haha. The check-ins, kind of like that little deal of, hey, this is where we're doing good at, how you feeling, that kind of good stuff. Developmental coaching. Hey, I understand, that this is what's going on, how can you and I work together to kind of improve on what is, improve on the situation that you're in right now and help kind of, improve the efficiency as well as, or the efficiency as well as the, what you call it, of the team. And then obviously there's progress reviews, which, hey, everybody needs to know where they're standing. That they need to know their standings. Obviously,
Do you know what that sounds like in the civilian sense?
What's that?
Kind of sounds like troop leading procedures. If you think about it,
Right.
Receive the mission, warning order, make a tentative plan, initiate movement, conduct reconnaissance, complete the plan, issue order, supervise and refine. So it's like, there's a lot to be said. I mean, if you're paying attention, they give you a lot of freaking tools in the military that you can easily take over to the civilian side of things. So it's like,
oh, dude, sure.
Like, why not use them?
The manager's role in teamwork. Managers are important. 70% of the variance in team engagement is determined solely by the manager. That's a big stat. All things related to teamwork fall back on the manager. So let's rephrase. Managers are the most important.
I would go a little bit further on that and say they're the most important when it comes to responsibility and mission completion.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, that falls on you. Like, I had a customer when we worked together. I had a customer come up and he was like, "Hey man, I'm kind of upset about this, that, and the other." Or no, I'm sorry, it was at the second place that I worked. And this guy said, "I'm pretty upset. I want to talk to the manager." I'm like, "You have my attention, sir. What can I do to help you?" And he just sat there and he complained and he vented his grievances for like 5 minutes. I'm like, "Okay, sir, what can we do to fix it?" And he's just like, "What? I just was going to complain so I could feel better, but now you're trying to fix my problem." I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "Why would I listen to your problem if we didn't try to find a solution for it?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Listen, if I'm the person that solves these problems, those folks up there have a task. They're either getting customers checked in for the shooting range or whatnot. They're getting supplies you would like to purchase, targets, ammunition, renting guns, whatever the case may be."
Yar.
I was like, if you have an issue, they're not getting paid to get yelled at. That's part of my job. That's why I wear a different color uniform, because I'm the person you come to with a problem and I'm the person you yell at if you have a problem. They don't get paid for that. I do. So let's have it. And the guy, like, ever since that guy came in after that, he was just like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Hey, so-and-so, what's going on?" and it bums me I don't remember the guy's name and stuff, but like, yeah, it was just, and it was just amazed at how that freaking interaction went down. I was like, all right, so.
Yarr. Great managers provide a clear definition of quality work and link this description to performance standards. When team members know what excellence looks like, they can better deliver quality work. Now, I mean, this kind of, I almost feel like this article is kind of going on the pretense that managers are in the position they're in because of this, that, and the other. Now, obviously, in order for certain managers to be put in a certain position, obviously there has to be some skill set that, led them to where they're at. I would say also that sometimes poor decisions are made in the choices of leadership that is placed above its people, placed above their people. And in that aspect also, that's just poor leadership in general.
Well, if you look down to like a little bit, scrolling down through that article that you have posted up here, there's a book from this website called "It's the Manager," or it's a book, or it's a pamphlet or something. So it's like, aha. So
yeah,
but I mean, but they're all valid points, and I think
correct.
It should easily kind of just be understood that like it's not one person. I mean, look at ancient Egypt. One person didn't build all those damn pyramids and stuff. You had people, yes, were they, indentured servants and slaves and all that stuff? Yeah, unfortunately. But at the same time, it wasn't just one guy going, I'm going to make a big old block of stone and put it up over there. Like, you had people that oversaw them. I mean, in a very rudimentary sense, you had, supervisors and people that were responsible for different things, this and that and the other. So,
right. And that's kind of I think I'm just going to kind of end it there, because it kind of just goes into like executive mumbo jumbo after that. Because I think the valid points are mainly within like the first kind of like 5, well, actually, there is one more that I kind of want to look into, which is probably the next one after that. It's effective team collaboration, teamwork across teams, and difficult team dynamics. Look, in a nutshell, like I'll go ahead and read it real quick. An important step to understanding your team and improving teamwork is to define your team, as teams today aren't as straightforward as they used to be. Gallup finds 84% of U.S. employees are matrixed to some extent. That is, they might work on multiple teams every day, reporting to the same or different managers. Matrix team structures can help companies be more nimble, especially in an increasingly agile workforce era. To move projects across team lines quickly without sacrificing quality for speed is a challenge. This is where teamwork across multiple teams, as well as increased communication and collaboration, become even more important. Long story short, are your different teams collaborating? Are your different teams communicating? Are they speaking to each other on the level that, allows for proper cohesion, and that allows for efficiency to be higher? It comes down to, what are your people in the back doing with your people that are up at the front counter, or the people with your call center, and are all of these teams communicating together to bring up the efficiency of the team? You know what I mean?
I'm going to stop you right there. So, like, that was one of the biggest issues that I had to fight with.
Yeah.
When I was the department head, is, working in the back of house, there was a range staff, there was the gunsmith department, and then there was also, you had the front of house folks. And like 95 to 98% of the people up front were good folks. Like they wanted to do well, and they were good people, and they were, good salesmen, all that stuff. But it was just such a disconnect between us in the back, or excuse me, us in the front. Like, they would just go, and it would just be like, oh, they would like showing a customer, they would just drop us off, and they would just be like, here you go, here's the customer, here's your stuff, bye. And they would just bolt. And I'm just like, somebody's gonna get choked out later. It's fucking annoying. So
and you're not wrong. That's the thing. That's a big that's the big problem with major businesses today. I think we kind of got out of that article what we needed.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
we can move on to the last point for sure.
Yeah. And that's kind of the big deal with kind of like that corporate structure, that kind of what you call it is as opposed to seeing each other as one team as a whole, as opposed to seeing each other as one company, dedicated to the main goal of achieving the purpose of not only satisfying the customer needs, but bringing home a paycheck that will be able to help your families as well, but creating a team that's actually worth working with. A lot of that is lost on many of the people that work at many of these companies, and the unfortunate part is that the team building is not there.
That damn excuse of, oh, it's just business, or that other garbage. It's nonsensical at best. But yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yes.
You can have the overall company is a team. The different departments are sub teams of said larger team. Yes. And yeah, we would, the places that the last place I was mentioning, it's like they did, they started off, they had some lofty ambitions and whatnot. And, I'm not trying to talk bad about anybody just because I'm not trying to start any shit, but at the same time, like, at first it was all fine and dandy, and they just kind of had like those mandatory, events where everybody would go in there and do the team building and this, and that, and the other. But it just kind of felt forced after a while, and I don't know if they still do that anymore because I haven't been there in a long damn time. So, but anyway, yeah, you hit the nail on the head with all that crap. But let's talk about one more aspect of teamwork, and that's in like the familial sense. So just you have, like, I'll give you, the great example I can think of is you, Alamo, you and your wife. I mean, you guys have a great environment of, you're great parents to your kids. You have 2 boys that I'm sure are a handful at times, and we're gonna leave that alone. March on. And we're moving right along. So, but at the same time, I mean, like, you have to schedule. You have your wife who has her own, channel that she's got going on Facebook. Her own thing, similar to what we have. Hers is just more developed, and she's got a lot more stuff going on, obviously, with it. Yes. So you have to have the teamwork and the over communication, the cohesiveness to say, okay, on these nights I've got this going on those nights you've got that going on. So, like, when we do our meetings, it's on 2 nights that we can do it because you don't have other stuff going on there. You guys are working as a team to raise 2 boys, which is admirable. In my sense, slightly different approach. I'm co-parenting. I have, my daughter and her mother. We are no longer together, unfortunately. Things happen in life as they happen, but we still do our very best to try to co-parent and raise up a daughter with a good head on her shoulders. And like, I'm very, very lucky and blessed. She's a good kid. She is smart. She is aware of what's going on. She's got a good head on her shoulders, and like, I can't thank her mother enough for that. She was definitely there to help out and whatnot. But again, I hope that didn't sound backwards. That's not what I meant to say. She's obviously there to do that kind of stuff. But, just having, the co-parenting going back and forth. Okay, we split time in this, that, and the other. And just, hey, can you possibly pick her up, take her this day? Because I got something that came up that's going on. Yeah, sure, no problem. That's co-parenting is such a great example of contemporary teamwork, in this modern day and age, a current events kind of example. But the other thing I wanted to say is just like, I can't talk about teamwork without talking about working with John. Like, we had so much damn dumb fun, and it was just the simplest thing. Like, John made us look good because
Yeah.
we would, they would want us to try to sell things like it's sell cased ammo or something when we all work together where we worked. And it's like, try to sell cased ammo, sell something, just try to go for that upsell. And it's like, all right. Well, and I was like, that'd be nice if I get around to it. But like, I've got a facility to run, I'm trying to get people in and out, make sure people are being safe, yada, yada, yada. And John would come up and was like, hey, bro, why buy a box of 50 when you can buy a case of like that's like 1,000 rounds? People would be like, yeah, absolutely. Like they would just get like, it was like this damn redneck Jedi mind trick. I'm like, how the fuck does he do that? But just the teamwork of us working together.
I think it was the mannerisms. It was, hey man, why would you buy a box? Why would you buy a box? That's like 50 rounds. Like
why not buy a case?
Buy a case. That's like that's 1,000 rounds. Come on.
And they were just like, yeah, that's a good idea. So we sold an ass ton of case ammo, and it's like, John.
Oh yeah.
I remember the manager, and it was just like, John, like seriously, how the hell do you do that? Like seriously? And he's just like, just started laughing, dude.
Oh my god!
But dude, like just the teamwork and like, God, we would just do such dumb stuff, and like, but it just made the team stronger. We were, we used to call ourselves the Island of Misfit Toys, and we all worked over there because like you're in the middle of the store, you're not anywhere like specific department or anything like that. You're just kind of in the middle, so everybody's kind of like like throw the stuff at the monkeys, whatever. But it was I liked our group because we had good guys that came through there. Kind of the same thing it was in the other place I was mentioning. A lot of us are military vets. You, me, John, some of the other guys that came through there and whatnot. And like we stayed busy, which just made the day go by quicker.
Mm-hmm.
We communicated, we talked to each other. It's like, hey man, this is going on, da 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 da. Or you'd leave a note, say, hey, this is what's up first thing in the morning. So. Yeah, I mean, John was an important part of that teamwork, and it's just like that's why like it's just I think back and I just like those are the good old days, man. We had so much fun with the guys that worked there.
Oh yeah,
we had just the whole story, and like especially there, like with the different departments, the guys that worked over in like the tactical side, the guys that worked in just the handgun side, the folks that worked back in receiving, like it was a good group of dudes, man. Like it was fun. We had a good time, man. It was awesome. So, but let's see. Was there another point of that I was trying to talk about? Working culture. Yeah, I already hit on that. That was kind of just when we were talking about having all the former military guys working there. That was just it kind of made it fun and interesting, and we gelled very well together, and it was cool.
Yeah.
So of all the departments here, we had the most badass sons of bitches that worked back there. We had a freaking Army Ranger and had a Marine Security Forces guy. It's like, fuck with us. Watch what happens. So,
I remember.
So anyway, folks, so that's our conversation on teamwork. Feel free to leave a comment when you're watching this, no matter what the platform is. We'd love to hear your comments and stuff. I'm going to start closing out, and we're going to wrap it up for 2022. So as I mentioned, we started this show. If you've heard us in the past, we started this show when the guy we were just talking about, John, we found out that he unfortunately chose to take a temporary problem and solve it with a permanent solution. And that is rather unfortunate. So later on, Alamo and I worked with his wife for an event for her channel, which is Flipside Mentorship. If you get a chance to check that out on YouTube, I would highly recommend it. And that's not just me doing the shameless plug because his wife is sweet on me and stuff. They do good shit. They do some really cool stuff, especially for kids, and hearing about all their story and all that kind of shit. But Alamo and I did an event a few years ago for her for one of the things she had going on, and Alamo got the buzz. He's like, dude, we got to work together. We got to do something. So I was like, what do you want to do? He's like, man, a podcast. I'm like, I don't know shit about a podcast. And he's like, dude, they put a fucking monkey in space. Can't be that damn hard. I'm like, valid point, sir. Valid point. So we talked about it, and then we found out about John. And then that to me was like the aha moment. And I was just like, dude, I'm in. Let's fucking do this shit in the mouth. Absolutely. Whatever it takes. So we came up with this concept of what you're watching right now, in the very early stages. And we were also kind of just talking about the brand and, things we can do to kind of encourage veterans to go and keep themselves around, because this right here, this number 22 a day on average, that's how many military veterans commit suicide, and it's 22 too many.
Yeah.
And it really sucks when it's somebody that um, then it's just like, and it brings it kind of full front and center, and you're just like, fuck, that's absolute horseshit. So we conceptualized and came up with the Battle Bros Code. And what the Bros Code is it's kind of like our own little four pillars of, keeping yourself in the fight, keeping your head in the game, all that kind of stuff. And it's easy to remember. BROS. Spell the word bros, and you're good to go. So, first one, be tenacious. No matter what you choose to do it to the utmost of your ability. Do it to the fullest. Do it to the highest quality possible. Whether it's being a team player at work, whether it's being a member of a sports team. Like I look at somebody like the captain of the Tampa Bay Lightning, Steven Stamkos. That's a tenacious dude. That guy's been here his whole career. He ain't trying to go nowhere. He is the leader of the team, and like just a tenacious SOB. Like just I love that dude. He's such a kick-ass son of a bitch. No matter what it is, go out and do it to the fullest. Don't like Ron Swanson said, don't half-ass two things. Whole ass one thing. Right? Do it. Take your whole ass and put it into something and make it work, man. It's all good. R, refuse to surrender. There are going to be things that come up in life where it's going to get you a little bit askew, maybe off task, off mission, a little bit turned around, a little bit twisted, whatever the case may be, whatever your chosen lexicon or vernacular is. When that happens, just remember, don't give up. Don't, like they said in Galaxy Quest, never give up, never surrender. So it's a great sci-fi reference to all the nerds out there. That's one of my favorite movies, man. So good. But yeah, no matter what happens, just refuse to surrender. Don't let it beat you. Continue to march on until you hit the objective or the goal. So, obliterate your obstacles. And going with what we just talked about, there's going to be things that pop up, whether it's a detour, a flat tire, whether it's I need to get a new car, whatever the case may be. Sometimes you have a wall that shows up. Sometimes you have to go climb the wall, go over the top of the wall and climb down the other side. Sometimes you have to go around the wall. Sometimes you have to dig under it. Sometimes you have to drive into it backwards with a striker. Sometimes you just need to breach that shit with some Bangalores and C4 and blow that bastard to smithereens, whatever the case may be. Okay, no matter what happens to get you knocked down to your knees, get your dick in the dirt, get up, obliterate your obstacles, and keep going. Okay, don't ever stop. Lastly, and most importantly, okay, S, seek help in a time of need. There are a lot of times, and this last week, we kind of saw an example of this. Everybody needs help from time to time. There was in the news. He wasn't military, at least I don't think. He was a pretty popular guy. The guy Twitch, who was the DJ from the Ellen Show when it was on TV, just out of nowhere, surprised a lot of people. And he was found in a hotel room in Los Angeles after he committed suicide with a gun, shot himself. There are a lot of people, especially in this day and age with everything going on. There's a lot of people out there who may look healthy, who may look like they've got everything under control. Check on your friends, man. Like if it's somebody you serve, like this guy right here knows if he ever runs into trouble, he can call me and talk things out. If I know that if I'm ever in trouble, I can call this guy and he's going to help get me going and help me talk me down and all that kind of stuff. I had a friend of mine who called me in the middle of the night and they were like, "Oh, this is not late, is it?" I'm like, "I don't care. Let's talk." Whatever the case may be. Was I tired at work the next day? Yeah. Is it important to me to make sure that my friends are okay? Hell, fuck yeah. That's absolutely paramount, because they deserve to be here just like everyone else. But whatever that help looks like. It could be somebody in your family. It could be, a coworker if you have a pretty close relationship with them. It could be somebody from the military. I got guys in the military that I consider, like my friends, my brothers, all that kind of stuff. Reach out to them. They're a good resource. They're going to know, especially if it's, some of the things you're going through can be traced back to the military. They're going to know better than anybody. It's hard to talk to a civilian about, PTS from the military for, things experienced in a combat zone, all that kind of crap. So, try to find a source that's going to help you work your way through it, whether it's, somebody you served with, somebody from basic training, somebody who has those similar experiences. Like I said, that's what made working in that department at my job that much more special, because you had guys that had those similar experiences. So you felt a real kinship to them. At least I did. But in the event that you don't have anybody you can reach out to, there are resources available out there. There's the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. They have two ways you can get a hold of them. It's 1-800-273-8255. Again, that's 1-800-273-8255. As of a few months ago, they have a new way you can get in touch with them. You can dial 988. That is 988. You can also text that 3-digit number. They will have somebody that can help you out, or at least talk to you, assist you the best way they can, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. No matter what you're going through, there's a way that you can get help. You don't feel like there's no help at all and that you just need to end it all, because that's not the case. If it meant having John here still, like, I would happily not do this show. But unfortunately, what happened. He's gone. And the best thing we can do is to honor his memory by doing the show as often as we can. So,
yeah.
That being said, like it says, seek out help in a time of need, because you never know. And check on your strong friends too, because, they may look around the outside. Next thing you know, it's just like, okay, what's going on here? So, that's all I got. Just remember those 4 things and you'll be good to go. So Alamo's going to close us out here, and then we are going to sign off for the holidays. So,
yes, sir. If you would like to get in contact with us, or if you'd like to find us, you can do that over on the Facebook at facebook.com/battlebros.podcast. You can also find us on the Insta at battlebros_podcast. You can find us also on the Twitter space at BattleBrosPC. Excuse me.
Good push, but yeah.
You can also find us on the rumble.com. Search Battle Bros, all one word, and you will find us right there in the description bar. If you'd like to contact us, you can contact us via the comment section on Rumble. You can the comment section on YouTube. You can also contact us via the instant messengers on the Insta, as well as the Twitter space, as well as the Facebook. And you can also find us at
all that.
Yeah, BattleBrosPC at gmail.com. That is BattleBrosPC at gmail.com. And you can find us on all the wonderful, wonderful audio platforms out there. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Amazon. Now, you can find us, if you are an iHeart user, over there on iHeartRadio, where we will now be uploading every new episode directly to iHeartRadio anytime a new episode is uploaded. So you can find us there as well. Now, moving up in the world, the Battle Bros podcast.
Don't forget to catch us on Cast Iron Skillet, because
bacon.
Liver and onions. Yeah.
You can also catch us on the Anchor and the Spotify, and you can support the show over on the Anchor by hitting the follow button, and as well as the support. And when you click that support button, you can lend us $1. You can lend us $5. You can lend us all the dollars. We'll take whatever you got. We appreciate anything you can offer.
Yep.
Other than that, I have got nothing.
So the last thing I want to say before we sign off for a couple of weeks for the holidays, again, we want to try to stay humble as much as we can and just say thank you to everybody that has watched the show, that supported us, that's given us a look see, but also to the folks that have maybe passed this along to somebody that needs to see it. It's
Correct.
not about us. We're doing this. The one benefit that we get is that I get to stay in regular contact with this asshat over here to my side here. We get to work together. We get to spend time, a couple times a week working on this. But, other than that, this is not something that, we take, pride in it. Yes, because we want to put on a good thing, but this is not something that we're doing for self-recognition. We want to bring attention to the fact that
do not take it lightly.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to say. We want to make sure that everybody that deserves to be here is still here. Everybody
Correct.
that has going through something to know that there is a way out. There is a way that gets you help.
Civilian
to get you
or military, by the way. We
Oh yeah,
no
this
bias.
is the But like I was saying, we want to thank everybody who has passed this, paid it forward and passed it along and shared this with other folks that may need to see this at their particular point in their lives or in their story of recovery or whatnot. If this message gets passed along, to somebody that needs to see it, that's who we're trying to reach. That's who
Correct.
needs to get our help. So we want to say thank you to the folks that have done that. If you are going to do that in the future and don't know it yet, I mean, hey, we appreciate it regardless. But this has turned into something that, as much as I was nervous about it at first, I'm glad that we decided to do this because it has given me a newfound sense of purpose to help other folks and to let them know that, there are things you can do to help yourself and help others. So it has been a fun journey. I want to thank this guy right over here as well. We talk about teamwork. I don't do any of the technical type shit. I just get on here and look marvelous and make everybody laugh with my ginormous forehead. So whatever, it is what it is. But if it wasn't for this guy right here, like, there would not be a show. So thank you, dude, for getting me on this and for being my partner in this this journey that we're on together. So
yes, sir.
I appreciate that, man. Also, thank you to our other folks that have helped us out with show topics, research, input, whether it's your lovely wife, the third member of the Battle Bros team, your wife, Tisha, our friend Brian, Gino, anybody that's kind of offered some content for us for our shows. We greatly appreciate it and hope you do more of that in the future. But yeah, it's amazing how much this has become what it is, and we only can get bigger and better and hopefully reach more people, and that's what we're trying to do. So, but like we said, we're going to take a couple of weeks off just to kind of finish up the year, finish through the holiday season. So it'll probably be at least 2 weeks, possibly 3. We just got to wait and see what happens. We're going to try to keep up on just some content for the social media pages, primarily Facebook and other stuff. But just kind of keep your ear to the ground. We will be back hopefully sometime relatively shortly after the first of the year. Until then, just remember, folks, be tenacious, refuse to surrender, obliterate your obstacles, seek out help in a time of need. If you can remember those 4 things, I promise you're going to be okay. And you can always reach out to us anytime you need to, whether it's on the Gmail, whether it's on social media, all that kind of shit. Reach out to us. We want to try to get you some help. So,
and if you got a case of the holiday blues, just know Battle Bros are always here for you.
Because that's a real thing. Like, that's a legit real thing. But
damn right.
Until we meet again on this YouTube channel, wherever you're listening to us from. This has been episode 049 entitled Teamwork of the Battle Bros podcast with myself, Mac, and my cohort and best friend, Alamo. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. Hopefully you like what you saw and you'll come back and see more of it. Want to tell everybody thank you again. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and all of the other holidays that are just too numerous to mention. So we say Happy Holidays.
Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa.
Don't forget Festivus.
Damn.
Yeah. So until we see you guys again or hear you again, thanks for stopping by. And again, happy holidays for 2022. And we'll see you after the new year. So this is Mac and Alamo from the Battle Bros podcast signing out. We'll see you next year.
Battle Bros out. Till next year.
Take it easy, y'all. Be safe.